Hello, this is Miss رانيا كرامتي. رجعت لكم من السنة إن شاء الله مع كتاب السنة الثامنة. Let's discover more English for 8th year basic education. This is the students book. طيب the students book أكيد you have activity book, okay, which is going to be of course related to this book. So it's gonna be very easy. أول حاجة ديما نقولها لكم راهو سهل برشا, okay, but you have to focus, okay, as much as you can from the very beginning. من البداية ركز. إذا كان ركزت راهو كل شيء باش يمشي لي مريقل. So حاجة أخرى, another thing, okay, which is very important, is that for this year سنة إن شاء الله you are going to be focused on one family. يعني إحنا باش نركزوا على family which is the Brown's family along with the Najjar's family. You have two families, عندكم زوز عائلات اللي هما باش يكونوا لكم الدروس الكل من هنايا حتى لآخر العام. So you have to memorize their names, their occupations, their ages, okay, and everything related to them. نحفظوا كل شيء مربوط بهم باش هكاك أنا ما عادش نوحل في حتى درس, okay. So another thing, of course, you're going to have the functions as usual. Functions اللي هما احنا ديما نخدموا بهم, ديما موجودين في كل devoir, okay. So this is module number 1. Of course, it doesn't have any title, but this is the module map, okay. In this module, you're going to see, okay, skills and strategies, grammar, functions, and of course, you have vocabularies, okay, which are related to each session, okay, and each lesson. So this is lesson number 1 from module number 1, which is review and introductory lesson, Meet the Browns. هذا اللي نحكوا فيه اللي هي you are going to see the Browns family. So this is a picture of the Browns family. Now the Browns family is composed of 4 members. Of course, you see here Mr. Brown, Mrs. Brown. You see the 2 kids, which is Christopher and Christine. So next we are going to see more details about them. بعديك باش نشوفوا details مربوطين أكثر بهم هما. Now this is step number 2. Write one yes or no question and one WH question to ask for information you wanted to get. Now the question here, what's the difference between WH question and yes or no question? شو الفرق ما بين إننا باش نخدم WH question and yes or no question? So it's very easy. This is this table, okay, has it all. So WH questions, okay, they must start with the WH question word. ما ثماش حاجة اسمها WH question ما تبدليش ب WH question word. يعني كلمة استفهامية تسمى WH, okay, WH question word. So here you have some examples. You have what, you have where, when, why, how, and who, okay. So these are some examples of the WH question words. Now, for example, we use what to ask about thing, we use where to ask about place, we use when to ask about time, we use why to ask about reason, we use how to ask about manner, and of course we use who to ask about a person. So if we see one of these WH question words at the beginning of the question, so automatically this is a WH question. شفت الكلمة اللي تبدأ ب WH هذه WH question. هو من الآخر علاش سميناهم هذوكم WH الآخرين سميناهم yes or no. نجم نفهم اللي yes or no questions راهم في الأنسر متاعهم فيهم yes or no. So إذا كان باش يسألني أي سؤال, so I answer with yes or no, okay? And we are going to see some examples, of course. Now, for the yes or no questions, okay, they don't start with WH question words. So yes or no questions ما يبدوليش بهذوما. بخلاف باش يبدولي verb to be, which is or are, verb to have, which is has or have, verb to do, which is does, do, or did. So it also can start with would or with the modal verbs, which are must or can. Okay, so with them, we are going to see nouns or pronouns, okay? And of course, we have a verb, and each verb is conjugated in the suitable tense. كل واحد مصرف في التنس متاعه. So let's have some examples. شنو هنا الفرق ما بين WH question word وما بين yes or no question? So for example, what's your last name? What's your last name? So because we are talking about the Browns, okay, so we are going to use their last name. So what's your last name? أنا كيجي واحد يقول لي last name اللي هو اللقب ما نجمش نقول yes or no, isn't it? So what's your last name? So the answer is going to be okay, it's Brown, okay, because we are talking about the Browns. احنا نحكوا على Browns, okay, باش نستعمل the Brown, okay. So what's your last name? It's Brown, or we can say my last name is Brown, okay. احنا علاش نقول براونز بالاس وعلاش نقول براون من غير اس؟ إذا كان we are going to talk about the whole family باش نحكي على العائلة الكل، اللقب متاع العائلة الكل، وقتها راني نجي للlast name ونحط لها S. So كيما أنا مثلًا مس رانيا كرامتي، إذا كان باش نحكي على العائلة متاع كرامتي نقول كرامتيز، نعرفش واحد آخر نعرف شنو اللقب باش يحكي على العائلة الكل باش يزيد الS. أما إذا كان باش نحكي كان على روحي، على اللقب متاعي وقتها باش نقول كيف لهنايا the brown. إحنا قلنا the browns اللي هُم الfamily العائلة الكل the browns. أما إذا كان باش نحكي على معناتها فرد من العائلة أوكي، وإلا إنسان هذاك اللقب متاعه نولي نحي الS. So pay attention to this thing. So what's your last name? So it's Brown or my last name is Brown. Now this is about the WH question. Now let's see. So for example, we are going to have a yes or no question. So for example, we say, are you staying here today? Are you staying here today? Are you staying here today? So are is a verb to be. And we have are at the beginning of the sentence. So automatically we are going to have a yes or no question. بما انه هنا الكويستشن بدالي verb to be طول. So are you staying here today؟ باش نقعد لهنا اليوم كل. So yes or no. Okay. So the answer is going to be for example, yes, I am. Or if it is no, we say no, I am not, or I'm not. Okay. If you're going to use the short form of verb to be. So it's no, it's not night. Oh, so yes, I am, or no, I'm not. Okay. So this is it. كيفاش نفرق WH question word WH question yes or no question. WH question يبدا لي what, where, when, why, how, who اللي هما هذوما ديما باش نبداهم WH. هما اصلا اسمهم WH. اوكي بخلاف الهاو اللي باديه ب H. عندي yes or no question وقتها لو عندي is, are, verb to be, has or have, verb to have, do, does or did, okay, verb to do, would اللي هي باش تجيني في الانفايتن من بعد في الانفيتيشن الفانكشن اللي باش نشوفوا كيفاش نخدمها، والماست ولا الكان اللي الماست تعرفوها اللي انتم obligation من عمناول، تعرفوا الكان اللي هي ability. So this is it. Let's move on to another thing. نتعدى لحاجة أخرى. So here you have some examples. Where do you come from? So I'm going to ask you this question. Is it a WH question or a yes or no question? So what do we see here? We see where, which is a WH question word. So if we have where, this is a WH question, okay? Now move on. Here you have, are you Tunisian? Are you Tunisian? So of course we have are at the beginning of the question. We have verb to be at the beginning of the question. Now automatically we have a yes or no question. اللي باش تقولي yes ولا no question. Okay. Now we have this text, okay, which is related to the Browns. Okay, this is just like an introductory to the Browns family. احنا عملنا مقدمة للبراونز family اللي انتم باش تفهموهم مازال على خلوط باش تفهموا شكون هذوما البراونز. Okay, how many members of the family are they? Okay. And who are the Najars also, okay, because they are related to each other اللي هم مربوطين ببعض. So let's see. Now we have Mr. and Mrs. Brown are English. They've got two children, Christopher 14 and Christine 10. اللي عرفت اللي هنا. So the Browns is composed, family of Browns is composed of 4 members. قسمة لأربع أفراد. We have Mr. Brown and Mrs. Brown who are the parents, and of course they have 2 children who are Christopher اللي هو 14 years old and Christine اللي هي 10. Okay. Now Mr. Brown is a baker and Mrs. Brown is a shopkeeper. Now we have the occupations, we have the jobs here. Okay. So Mr. Brown is a baker اللي هو يخدم في bakery اللي هو خباز, and shopkeeper اللي هي عندها حانوت, هي المولات بتاع الحانوت. shopkeeper هي shop assistant. عم نقول نشوفوا في shop assistant اللي هي تخدم في الحانوت, هنا shopkeeper اللي هي متاعها. She sells bread and cakes in her shop. So she has a bakery. That's what we can say. The Browns are in Jerba now. Year after year, they come to Jerba to spend their holidays. They like it because it's quiet and peaceful. Now the Browns, they are not in England now. They are in Jerba because they are spending their summer holiday or their vacations or whatever. Okay. So year after year, they come to Jerba. So this is not their very first year, but this is a usual thing for them to do. They like it because it's quiet and peaceful. Here we have 2 adjectives. We have quiet and peaceful. Now, this is a description for جربة. Okay, as we are talking about functions إذا كان باش نحكي عن functions راهي quiet و peaceful تعطيني description طول تمشي للfunction. So one day they met the Najars on the beach. So here we have the Najars, okay, and they are more important, not more important, but they are as important as the Browns, okay. يعني كيما هما مهمين حتى البراونز مهمين معناها كيف. So as important as, okay, نعطي في ال comparative. Okay. So the Najars invited them for dinner. That was how they became friends. So when they met on the beach, okay, now the Najars invited the Browns, okay, for dinner. The Browns are getting ready to leave now. Their holidays are almost over. They must go back to London. Now, what do you know and what did you know about the whole text? شو اللي عرفتوها التكست? So we have two families. We have the Najars and we have the Browns, okay. انا لازمني نعرف هذوما الزوز راهم باش يسيروا لي الكل الدروس اللي جايه الكل. Now the Najars and the Browns, okay. Now we don't have more information about the Najars, isn't it? احنا مازلنا ما نعرفوش النجارز شكونهم هما، شنو هما الممبرز الافراد نتاعهم مازلنا ما نعرف. بخلاف the Browns, okay, they are composed of 4 members اللي فيهم 4 افراد. 4 members. أنا هيك في مخي باش ما عادش نغلط فيه. 4 members. So we have Mr. Brown, okay, who is a baker, isn't it? Now we have Mrs. Brown, okay, who is a shopkeeper. Okay. Also we have 2 kids, okay, from the Browns, okay, who are, we have Christopher, or we call him a Chris, okay. We have Christopher, who is 14 years old. Okay, 1 minute. 14. And we have the girl who is Christine, who is 10 years old. Okay, so the Browns is composed of 4 members. We have Mr. and Mrs. Brown. Mr. Brown is a baker. Mrs. Brown is a shopkeeper. They have got 2 kids. We have Christopher, who is 14 years old, and we have Christina, who is 10 years old. Now, the Browns somehow met the Najars. So we have a relationship between these 2 families. أظن الزوز ما بيناتهم relationship. يعني ما بيناتهم علاقة. Okay, now because the Najars, okay, invited the Browns, isn't it? يعني the Najars شنو عملوا؟ invited the Browns for dinner. Okay, استدعوهم على العشاء. This is it. هذا التكست فيه. انتم عندكم الاكتيفيتي بوك. حلو الاكتيفيتي book you have comprehension questions اللي انتم باش تخدموها. Okay. Now, what did Mr. Najar say to invite the Browns for dinner? Write the answer in your activity book. The activity book باش انتم, so you're going to ask the question, okay? So what did Mr. Najar say to invite the Browns? شنو قال لهم باش يستدعاهم? So of course here let's remember that we have seen last year invitation. Okay, احنا قرينا الانفيتيشن كيفاش نخدمه. الانفيتيشن تخدم بال would you like من الاخر باش نعاونكم فيها شويه. would you like بعد would you like we have either noun or a verb. يا عندي noun يا عندي verb. لان انت تخيلوا في مخاخكم اللي مستر نجار اوقف قدام the Browns وباش يقول لها معايا بربي باش نستدعاكم على العشاء. شنو كيفاش باش يقول لها؟ مثلا يقول لها would you like to come for dinner. So this is an invitation. Okay, this is how to invite someone. هكا نولي نستدعى عبد. Would you like to come for dinner? Would you like to come for dinner? Okay, so let's see more details about invitation. هنا عندكم more details اللي هو would you like plus noun as I told you before كما قلت لكم, وعندكم كيف would you like plus 2 plus verb. What's the difference? شنو الفرق ما بين would you like معها noun وإلا would you like معها 2 plus verb. كان باش نستعمل noun معناها اسم متاع حاجة, مش اسم شخص, لا اسم حاجة. كيف لهنا عندي would you like a cup of tea. cup ما هيش verb. cup راهي معناها كيس متاع تي. so الكيس هذيك noun ما صار ما عنديش verb. وقتها عندي noun. كل ما باش نقدم حاجة باش نقول معناتها نجيب لك الحكاية نعطيك الحكاية. المهم الnoun تبدأ noun. Would you like a cup of tea? We can say would you like a soda? Would you like an apple? Okay, دي ما عندنا. But we have would you like plus to plus verb. For example, we have would you like to come with me? Here we have the verb. لهنا كما قلنا would you like to come? Would you like to come? Plus to plus verb. Okay? Plus to plus verb. ايش بيه الverb? الverb is always in the infinitive because we have to تخلي طول الverb في الانفينيتيف. In this soup. So, would you like to come with me? This is an invitation, but this is to plus verb. Would you like a cup of tea? This is also invitation. Invitation, but with now. Now we have sub function. شنو هما السب functions نحكي عليهم؟ تحت الفانكشن نتاع inviting عندكم two functions أخرين مربوطين بهم. So if I'm going to accept the invitation أنا باش نقبل الدعوة نتاعك نقول له yes please وإلا with pleasure وإلا اللي نحب نقوله اللي أنا باش نقبل الدعوة. But if I'm going to decline باش نرفض الدعوة بكل أدب okay with politeness we say no thank you okay or I can't or whatever. So here you are refusing the invitation. So I repeat نعاود ما هو عندي invitation أنا ولا inviting هاي نفلق. So we have inviting هذه اللي نحكوا فيها. لو احنا نحكوا في الفانكشن هذه متاع invite. الانفايتن اللي هي فانكشن تخرج منها تو فانكشنز اخرين اوكي احنا سميناهم سب فانكشن على خاطر تحت الفانكشن الرئيسيه. We have accepting the invitation okay I'm sorry or refusing the invitation okay refusing the invitation in the ردوا بالك واضح ولا لا. So we have inviting, accepting the invitation and refusing the invitation. inviting كيفاش نخدمها نعرفها إذا كان عندي would you like والباقي كمل كيما حبوه بالnoun وإلا بالverb. Now this is it. You have time here. You have swim, listen, write, take a photo, speak on the phone and walk. Okay, so الverb تحاولوا تقلدوه. Okay باش تفهموه. عندكم الاكتيفيتي بوك إذا انتم ما زلتوا في عطله نعرف ولكن تنجموا تشبهوا الاكتيفيتي بوك. So you're going to answer the comprehension questions. تعاودوا تقروا meet the browns وتخدموا معناتها ال comprehension questions اللي مربوطين بيه. انا اللي عليا اللي نفسر لكم الستودنت بوك وانتم تخدموا في الاكتيفيتي بوك. Okay, so next session we are going to see lesson number 2 which is a letter from an English friend. المره الجايه نشوفوا lesson number 2 اللي هي a letter from an English friend. As I told you this is very easy. راهو سهل راهو ما فيش حد شيء راهو الدروس راهي سهله. شنو هو لازمكم تشدوها من المره الاولى. Okay, because it's like a chain. اذا خاطرها هي سلسله اذا كان معناتها نضيع حلقه راهو كل شيء ضاع. Okay, so this is it for today. See you next time. Goodbye.